Hello, everybody, and welcome back to World of Tanks with your host Michion. Got another tank review for you today. This time it's definitely one of my favorite tanks in World of Tanks, the ELC AMX BIS. Now, um, you might. This tank is sometimes considered to be a stat padding tank, and you can get very good WN8 ratings out of this tank, only if you're good though. Um, Now, this tank, if you look at the numbers, isn't good. Okay, it's actually pretty shitty if you look cleanly at the numbers. Um, so why would you want to play the ELC AMX? I mean, I have played over 1,500 games with the thing, and there's a good reason I've played that many games with it. It's an amazingly fun tank, okay, and also very effective. Okay, when I say fun, I don't just mean it's fun to do weird things with it and um, usually fail miserably, but it's fun. No, this tank is fun and very effective. Now, how does that work with the fact that this thing has one of the crappiest damage per minutes in the entire game? I mean, literally, there are tier 3 tanks that have better DPM than the ELC AMX. Seriously. The, well, obviously, the Chiha has 1500 DPM. That is better than the ELC AMX. The ELC AMX with this crew members, yes, this is 105% crew members, brothers in arms, everything, all the good stuff, 1200 DPM. This tank is not good as far as DPM is concerned. Um, Now, interestingly, this tank was designed to be airdropped from planes, and what the idea was that a parachute would deploy, and this tank would be light enough to just drop down with the parachute and land softly on the ground and be able to be driven after that. And that would explain the weight of this tank. This is one of the lightest tanks in World of Tanks. It only weighs 7 tons. It's very light tank. You can and will be rammed quite a bit for quite a lot of damage by pretty much everything. I mean, even if we were to take the T-67, by no means heavyweight, it's still more than twice the weight of the ELC. Um, Now, another thing, this tank technically has a turret. It's not an actual turret. The thing only turns about this much. Historically, the ELC was not able to turn its turret while driving. It was able to turn its turret while stationary, but if it did try to turn its turret more than this much, it would rip the turret clean off the vehicle. Okay, that gives you an idea of just how light and just there's so little in this tank. That's why it's so light, and they had to do this to make it so airdroppable. Now, there is a good thing regarding the weight. It is 7 tons, but it does have a 250 horsepower engine. That is a very weak engine compared to other engines, but when you consider the fact this thing only weighs 7 tons, if you were to take a look at the Bulldog, if pretty light as well, double the engine power, but the horsepower per ton is actually much lower, and the Bulldog gets off like a rocket. Okay, you'll see 36 horsepower per ton. I'll be talking about 3 things that make this thing an absolute monster. Okay, and the reason why it is so easy for me to win games. I have, let's see, 59% win rate in this tank. I have 3 marks of excellence. I have quite a bit of epic medals, Radley Waters. You can't get a Radley Waters with a shitty tank. Doesn't work. It doesn't happen. Okay, so let's just talk about the 3 main things that make this tank epic. 1. It has a very good gun. The soft stats on the gun are shit, 0.38 accuracy. This is with a fully trained crew. I mean, you don't usually get a crew this trained in any tank in all the tanks, but since I've played so many games with it, I do have a very well trained crew. By the way, if you take a look, the commander actually holds all the duties except for being the driver. The driver is a separate member. There are only two crews in this tank. And yeah, there are a lot of crew skills to pick from in the ELC for the commander. Now, but back to the gun. Getting distracted here. The rate of fire, as we mentioned before, is absolute tosh. Okay, this rate of fire is the rate of fire of some of the 120 millimeter guns. Okay, um, the penetration, however, is very good, especially when you consider this thing as a tier 5 tank and a light tank at that. This penetration is very good. The alpha damage on this gun is very good. Again, for a tier 5 light tank, if we were to take a comparable tier 5 light tank, the Chaffee, for example, with its 75 millimeter gun, 110 damage and 96 penetration, the Leopard with its, where is it? Where is it? God damn it, Leopard. There we go. Leopard with its either the autoloader or the L60 non-autoloader. You can see the alpha damage on the ELC AMX is actually quite formidable. The accuracy is shit, the aiming time is shit. It's actually worse when you have a non-fully trained crew. I can just recruit a new crew just so you can see the kind of how actually shit it is. Point at 3.25 aim time, 0.43 accuracy. There are Russian guns with better gun handling than this. Um, Actually, I'll just, yeah, whatever. Um, but again, it does have, when it's fully trained, it does have pretty good accuracy, and I'm not gonna say good because it's definitely not good, but acceptable aiming time, I guess. Um, but other than that, it really is the alpha and the penetration that set this tank apart from other light tanks. You can easily go through the front of a T-29 heavy tank with this gun. Just clean through like butter. Um, so that's one thing. The other thing is again the horsepower per ton. This thing just goes up like a rocket. 36 horsepower per ton. And it has very good um, ground resistance on these tracks. So it's very easy to, while you're standing still, to just zoom off at, like easily in a second or two, up to 20 kph, 30 kph, and it's very hard hitting a moving target that just zooms off like that. And the third thing, and possibly the most important thing about this tank, is the camo rating. This tank has one of the best camo ratings in all world tanks, and the best of the light tanks. There's nothing more sneaky than this tank as far as light tanks are concerned. The E25 has approximately the same camo rating. The Raymato Borsing also about the same. Yeah, 44 even a little better. But the ELC is a light tank, and light tanks skip their camo while moving. Also, because it doesn't have that big a gun, as you can see, the Borsing has a 6.82 camo while firing, while stationary, of course. The ELC actually has 10, and this is not including camo net. With camo net, it has about 13-14% camo. This is a very stealthy machine. Okay, And the view range is good on the ELC. It is a good view range for this tank, a tank of this tier. I would recommend, as far as equipment goes, some people drop the camo net for something else. You can put an improvement. Like there are a few ways you can go around with this tank. You can make it a complete scout the way I did it. I still fight with it. Okay, it's not that it just sits in a bush and spots everything, and that's it. No fun. I do have it set up as a scout simply because I don't really feel the need to put anything else on it. I mean, you have a shitty DPM. Even if you put a gun rammer on this thing, I don't think that it makes that much of a difference. Um, but you can, if you want, you can put an enhanced gunling drive that will help with the aiming time. You can put a medium caliber 10 gun rammer that will help with the reload. You can put ventilation. It's up to you. I personally opted to go with view range and a camo net. The camo net makes this tank, even while sitting without cover, without bushes, still gives it a 53% camo rating. That is a lot of camo. You have tanks behind bushes that have less camo than this. Okay, so let's go for some gameplay, and you'll see what I mean when I say this tank is an absolute beast and so much fun to play. So after all that talking in the garage, I figured I'd show you a game. Um, I have XVM turned off for this replay because it bugs me out and it makes the screen flicker and structures just flicker or disappear, or the shadows completely cover the entire fucking map. Uh, but during the game, I have had it on and it was quite amusing. These three guys, three T67s, are, well, they think they're seal clubbing with the completely overpowered T67. Um, Spoiler, it's not gonna go as planned. So, let's kick it off, shall we? I am in the ELC. God damn it. Why is it not doing the thing? Fuck it. Right. Um, Yes, that was quite rude of that T67. And by the way, as you can see, most tanks just roll over trees, no problem. The ELC is actually so light that it actually can't run over trees. It's quite sad, really. But let's get on, shall we? Taking a passive spawning position with ELC, pretty standard procedure. It's so stealthy and it does have very good view range, especially for the matchmaking tier that the ELC gets into. Since it's only a tier 5, most tanks that it fights, tier 5, 6, 7, only have a 360, 70, max 400 meter view range. They're not going to see me, and I am going to see them. Now, did you see that shot coming? What this T67 is doing? What the fuck? Oh, my touchpad was on. Sorry about that, guys. Turn it off. There we go. What this T67 is doing is he's blind firing into the bush. He's assuming someone is there. He's right. Um, but it doesn't work if you're trying to outspot someone who is spotting you. Now, as you can see, this gun does have accuracy. You just need to really, really let it aim. As you can see, while moving, this thing has crap for accuracy. Okay? So, at this point, I figured to myself, well, that's enough spawning from that position. Obviously, not many people are camping, so might as well move up. And as you can see, if you look at the map, let's see how many tanks are still alive. The T29, we didn't see him yet. T25 over there, T34, 85 over here. The KV2 is in the town. The artillery, there's 3 artillery by the way. The Churchill one's in the town. The OI experimental is in the town. So when you look at, this is important in World of Tanks. Look at the map. Look at the tanks that are spotted, and think for yourself which tanks are left. Like which tanks aren't where. Okay, this area is completely exposed now. this T-67 is the only one there. The OI experimental moved it to the town. That lone one-shot T-67 is the only one there. I was waiting for him to push up. Now, what I did there, if he was there, even with my camo, I would have been found out and he would have seen me and I would have gotten my sixth sense going off. Since my sixth sense didn't go off, I know he's not there. Okay? If he was there, by the way, that shot might have killed him. So it was a wager. But I know he's not there, so I'm moving up, trying to kill him and then go for the artillery. Um, and there he is, and hello! Yes. Lovely shot. A lovely kill. It wasn't a very challenging shot, was it? Now, um, this looks here with me. He has the same idea. He's going for the artillery as well. And that's a good thing because the DPM on the ELC is so shit that you actually can't deal with more than one artillery at a time. It does, however, have 320 alpha on its high explosive, and that is usually enough to deal with most tier 5 and 6 artillery. Tier 7, the M12, as you can see, not so much. But it can still deal with it. Like, again, as you can see, the M12 didn't see me even when I fired. And yeah, he's hiding behind the building. I'm not going to get a shot. The looks actually killed the AMX, and then the other AMX, the MX-13F3, shotgunned him. So now I am going for some artillery fun. Um, yes. And then, plot twist, artillery is aiming at me. But snapshots sometimes work. Even with this terrible accuracy, sometimes snapshots do work. Now, this T-29 is in a very dangerous position as far as our team is concerned, and this T-34-85, which has already 3 kills, by the way, is going to back him up, and that is a big, big problem. Okay. Now, the ELC is also a very short tank. It's very low to the ground, and I have no idea. Again, that was a lucky hit. T-67s aren't known for accuracy on the move. That's more what you'd expect, just complete missing, and the ELC is a tiny target. Even if he was standing still, it would be hard to hit me. Oh, that's artillery trying to end me. And the T-67, like the ELC can't deal with tanks mano a mano, as it said. The ELC just can't deal with anything in a straight match, but when they're not paying attention, there we go. When the tank is a one shot, or as you're going to see later in this replay, when you can use your stealth to deal with them, I'm going to let the Panther, there we go, distract him. He's distracted by the Panther, and boom. And that's that's the end for the seal clubbing T-67 platoon. Now, the T-50 is capping. He's never going to cap in this situation. The M12 is actually trying to go there and spot him. There's no real reason for him to do it, but he's going. It's good. It's better to be safe than sorry. Now, in this position, this this T-34-85, sorry, is 300 meters away. So even when I do open fire, and it does take a long time to aim, he will see me. So I don't wait for the sixth sense, I just run. And now check this out. This is how you deal with enemies when you have the leisure of time. Now I could play it safe and just wait for the artillery and spot him and um, you know classic standard boring light tank uh, maneuvers and shit. But yeah, and the Panther is actually telling me to spot him. But that's boring. Why be boring when you can do it in a fun way and a more profitable way, by the way. What I'm doing here, because the ELC actually takes 11 seconds to reload, you're actually gonna drop off the radar before you're loaded, and he can't see me. And boom. Yeah. Nah. Spawning for artillery is too mainstream, man. As Panrod has a sense of humor. And now it's only the artillery left. Now, this is still fully losable, okay? Totally losable. The artillery can shotgun me, and then it's just two artillery versus one artillery, and you can never really trust artillery because it's just so RNG dependent that it just, I don't know. So I'm gonna look for the artillery, and I was actually intending on spotting the artillery and letting my artillery end him. But well, even the best plans never go together when faced with the reality. Hello, AMX. Boom. And that was the ELC AMX, and I still handbrake turn there as a finish. And this is my favorite tank in World of Tanks. I definitely recommend it. It can be frustrating at times because it doesn't have the same effect you can sometimes have on games. I wanted to show you a spotting ELC replay because it's so easy getting spotting damage with this thing, but unfortunately my computer needed a cleanup, um, so I had to delete like 1,000 World of Tanks replays. Um, but I hope this was enjoyable and enough of a proof that the ELC is amazing. And if you want to have fun, just get an ELC and let it sink in a bit because it's not intuitive to get the ELC working like this, but as soon as you get it working, you just won't stop smiling. Again, if you like this content, please remember to like and subscribe. I will be tuning in, of course, as always, to the comments. If you want to give me any hints or any kind of thing you want me to do in the future, um, and let me know what you think. And that's it for me today. See you in the next video. Bye bye.